Shadowing improves fluency by training learners to speak in real time without overthinking, because it closely imitates how language is used in real-life communication. When people speak a language fluently, they do not stop to translate words or consciously think about grammar rules. Instead, their brain processes meaning and produces speech automatically. Shadowing helps develop this automatic response by forcing the learner to listen and speak at the same time. This simultaneous action reduces the habit of pausing, translating, or mentally preparing sentences before speaking, which is one of the biggest barriers to fluency. Through shadowing, the brain gradually becomes accustomed to the natural speed of spoken English. Many learners struggle because they practice English slowly, often reading or speaking word by word. Shadowing removes this comfort zone by exposing learners to authentic speech patterns. As they repeat immediately after the speaker, their brain learns to keep pace with natural conversation. Over time, this improves reaction speed, making it easier to respond quickly during real conversations without hesitation. Another important reason shadowing improves fluency is that it strengthens the connection between listening and speaking skills. Fluency depends not only on knowing words, but also on recognizing them instantly when heard and using them correctly in speech. Shadowing combines these skills into one continuous process. When learners repeatedly hear and reproduce correct English structures, their brain stores these patterns naturally. This leads to smoother sentence formation and reduces awkward pauses or broken speech. Shadowing also builds confidence, which is essential for fluency. Many learners know English but are afraid of making mistakes, causing them to speak slowly or avoid speaking altogether. Shadowing shifts the focus away from perfection and toward flow. Since learners are copying a native or fluent speaker, they feel guided rather than judged. This lowers anxiety and encourages continuous speech, even if mistakes occur. With regular practice, shadowing helps learners internalize pronunciation, stress, and rhythm, making their speech sound more natural. As fluency increases, speaking English feels less like a task and more like a habit, allowing learners to express their thoughts freely and smoothly in real situations. Listening and repeating simultaneously trains pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation by engaging the learner in an active and focused form of practice that closely mirrors natural language acquisition. When learners listen carefully to a fluent speaker and repeat the words immediately, they are not only copying sounds, but also absorbing how those sounds are produced in real speech. This process helps the mouth, tongue, and vocal muscles adjust to unfamiliar English sounds that may not exist in the learner's native language, gradually improving clarity and accuracy in pronunciation. Simultaneous listening and repeating also develops a strong sense of rhythm in English. Every language has its own natural flow, including patterns of stressed and unstressed syllables. Many learners speak English with uneven timing because they pronounce every word with equal stress. Shadowing corrects this problem by exposing learners to natural speech patterns where certain words are emphasized while others are reduced. By repeating immediately, learners instinctively follow this rhythm instead of thinking about it consciously, allowing their speech to sound smoother and more natural. Intonation, which refers to the rise and fall of the voice, is another crucial element that improves through this technique. Intonation carries meaning, emotion, and intention in English. A sentence can sound polite, confident, unsure, or even rude depending on how it is spoken. Through shadowing, learners repeatedly hear and reproduce these vocal patterns in real contexts. Over time, they begin to naturally use appropriate intonation when asking questions, expressing surprise, or making statements, which greatly improves communication effectiveness. This method also enhances listening accuracy. When learners know they must repeat immediately, they pay closer attention to every sound, pause, and emphasis. This sharpens their listening skills and reduces misunderstandings. As their ears become more trained, they start noticing subtle differences in pronunciation and tone that they may have missed before. This heightened awareness strengthens overall language comprehension. With consistent practice, listening and repeating simultaneously allows learners to internalize the sound system of English. Their speech becomes clearer, more expressive, and closer to natural spoken English, making communication smoother and more confident in everyday conversations. Starting with simple and short audio is essential for successful shadowing because it allows learners to build confidence and accuracy without feeling overwhelmed. Many English learners make the mistake of choosing fast, complex conversations or long speeches at the beginning, which can lead to frustration and loss of motivation. When the material is too difficult, learners struggle to understand the content, miss many words, and feel discouraged. Simple and short audio, on the other hand, provides a manageable starting point that helps learners stay focused and positive during practice. Short audio clips make it easier to concentrate on pronunciation and listening rather than trying to keep up with too much information at once. When the audio is only a few seconds or a minute long, learners can replay it multiple times and practice shadowing without mental exhaustion. This repetition is crucial because it allows the brain to become familiar with common sounds, word patterns, and sentence structures. Gradually, these patterns are stored naturally, making future learning smoother and faster. Simple audio usually contains clear speech, common vocabulary, and basic sentence structures, which are ideal for beginners and intermediate learners. When learners understand most of what they hear, they can focus on copying pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation instead of worrying about meaning. This understanding reduces anxiety and helps learners enjoy the learning process. As confidence grows, learners become more willing to speak and take risks, which is an important part of language development. Another advantage of starting with easy material is that it allows learners to notice their progress clearly. When they can shadow an entire short clip smoothly, it creates a sense of achievement. This feeling motivates them to continue practicing regularly. Over time, learners can gradually increase the difficulty by choosing slightly longer or faster audio, ensuring steady improvement without sudden pressure. By beginning with simple and short audio, learners create a strong foundation for shadowing practice. This approach encourages consistency, reduces frustration, and builds the confidence needed to move toward more complex English materials with ease and motivation. Daily short practice is more effective than long, irregular study sessions because language learning depends heavily on consistency and repeated exposure. When learners practice English for a short time every day, their brain stays continuously connected to the language. This regular contact helps reinforce what has already been learned and prevents forgetting. In contrast, long study sessions done only once in a while often lead to mental fatigue and make it harder to retain information, especially in speaking-focused techniques like shadowing. Short daily practice fits more naturally into a learner's routine, making it easier to maintain over a long period. Spending 10 to 15 minutes shadowing each day feels manageable and less stressful than setting aside several hours at once. This approach reduces the pressure associated with learning and encourages learners to show up consistently. Over time, these small efforts accumulate into significant progress, even though each individual session may seem brief. Another reason daily short practice is effective is that it keeps the brain alert and receptive. Shadowing requires intense concentration, active listening, and quick speech response. Practicing for too long in one session can reduce focus and lead to careless repetition, which limits improvement. Short sessions allow learners to stay mentally fresh and fully engaged, ensuring higher quality practice and better results. Frequent daily practice also strengthens muscle memory involved in speaking. The tongue, lips, and vocal cords need regular training to produce English sounds accurately and smoothly. Just like physical exercise, language muscles respond better to consistent training rather than occasional intense effort. Daily shadowing helps these muscles adapt gradually, leading to clearer pronunciation and faster speech over time. When learners practice every day, English becomes a habit rather than a special activity. This habit-building effect is crucial for fluency because it integrates English into daily life. As confidence increases and hesitation decreases, learners begin to notice that speaking English feels more natural and less forced, proving that steady, short practice leads to lasting improvement and genuine fluency. Recording and comparing. Your voice is a powerful technique because it allows learners to become aware of their actual spoken English rather than what they think they sound like. Many learners believe they are pronouncing words correctly until they hear a recording of themselves. Listening to one's own voice reveals gaps in pronunciation, unclear sounds, incorrect stress, and unnatural pauses. This awareness is the first step toward improvement, as learners cannot correct mistakes they do not notice. When learners compare their recording with the original audio, they can clearly identify specific differences. They may notice that their pronunciation is slower, certain sounds are missing, or the rhythm does not match the speaker's flow. This comparison helps learners focus on precise areas that need improvement instead of practicing blindly. Over time, this targeted practice leads to more accurate pronunciation and smoother speech. Recording also helps learners track progress over time, which is highly motivating. By saving older recordings and listening to newer ones, learners can hear how much they have improved. This progress might not be obvious during daily practice, but recordings provide clear evidence of growth. Hearing better pronunciation, faster speech, and more natural intonation builds confidence and encourages learners to continue practicing regularly. Another important benefit of recording is that it encourages active self-correction. Instead of depending on a teacher or native speaker for feedback, learners become more independent. They learn to listen critically, adjust their speech, and try again. This self-monitoring skill is valuable because it can be used anytime and anywhere, making learning more flexible and personal. Recording your voice also reduces fear of speaking. Practicing alone with recordings creates a safe environment where mistakes are not embarrassing. As learners become comfortable hearing themselves speak English, their confidence increases in real conversations. Over time, their speech becomes clearer, more natural, and more fluent, proving that regular recording and comparison are essential tools for effective shadowing practice. And lasting improv recording and comparing your voice is a powerful technique because it allows learners to become aware of their actual spoken English rather than what they think they sound like. Many learners believe they are pronouncing words correctly until they hear a recording of themselves. Listening to one's own voice reveals gaps in pronunciation. Unclear consistency and patience are essential for mastering English through shadowing. Because language learning is a gradual process that develops over time, many learners expect quick results and feel disappointed when fluency does not appear immediately. Shadowing trains the brain, ears, and speech muscles, and this training requires repeated exposure and steady effort. When learners practice consistently, even for a short time each day, their brain slowly adapts to the sounds and structures of English, creating long-term improvement rather than temporary progress. Patience plays a key role because improvement through shadowing often happens quietly. Learners may not notice daily changes, but with regular practice, their pronunciation becomes clearer, their listening sharper, and their speaking more natural. Without patience, learners may quit too early, assuming the method is not working. Understanding that fluency grows step by step helps learners stay committed, even when progress feels slow. Consistency also helps overcome fear and hesitation. The more learners repeat shadowing exercises, the more familiar English becomes. This familiarity reduces anxiety and builds confidence. Speaking English stops feeling like a difficult task and starts to feel normal. Over time, learners begin to respond automatically in conversations, which is a clear sign of developing fluency. Another important aspect of consistency is habit formation. When shadowing becomes part of a daily routine, the brain treats English as a regular activity rather than a special effort. This habit strengthens memory and improves retention of sounds, words, and sentence patterns. Skipping practice for long periods breaks this rhythm and slows progress, while steady practice keeps skills active and growing. With patience and consistency working together, learners gradually experience real transformation. Words flow more smoothly, pronunciation improves naturally, and confidence increases without force. In the end, those who continue practicing calmly and persistently discover that English fluency is not achieved through speed, but through steady dedication that turns effort into effortless expression. Asterisk.